What's up, y'all? It is Kiara the Woman, and welcome to another affair of A Single Mother Success podcast, where we discuss all things womanhood and provide weekly doses of self love, empowerment, and insight to the mental and spiritual being of you as a woman, no matter where you are in your womanhood journey. Hello, ladies. So, I am actually really excited about this topic, mainly because I don't know, it I get to share my journey of being a working entrepreneur with you all. So, I'm excited, and hopefully after y'all hear this episode, y'all could of course give y'all feedback and stuff like that, and let me know what y'all think. I think that this is probably gonna end up being a two-part episode, I'm pretty sure, because I like have a lot that I want to say, and I did jot like a few notes down because I didn't want to like not mention something and then listen back to it and be like, oh damn, I should have said, or dang, I forgot to say, and stuff like that. So I did jot down some notes, and I'm just excited. So obviously the title of this pod is pod episode. Okay, is it a pod or is it an episode? I feel like it's an episode because the actual pod is a single mother success podcast. So anyways, this episode, I just want to talk about the journey of entrepreneurship and the habits that I had to form, the adjustments I had to make, and the mindset I had to create and develop in my pursuit of my businesses, and opening up businesses and starting. I don't know why, but I started multiple businesses. It's like every time I have an idea, I go create an LLC for it, and I'm like, child, you need to do one at a time. But yeah, anyway, so as most of you may or may just now be learning, I am an Atlanta realtor. My broker is Jeremy Norman with Norman and Associates Real Estate Solutions, the largest minority-owned brokerage firm in Atlanta. And I also work a regular 8 to 4 job. And I'm not gonna tell y'all where I work like that, but I do have a regular is it W2? I don't remember now. I think it's W2. W2 job. So, and honestly, I like for okay, so there was, I don't even know if this still exists. But I have seen like a couple posts on social media that are like, if you have a job, and like the time that you're spending at your job could be used, or it could be going toward like your business. You could be putting that same amount of time and energy into your business, and it's like, you know you're not really an entrepreneur if you have a job, which I think is crazy. And like if you're sleeping and not dedicating all of your time while you're awake to your business, you're not working or being productive in your business. That's crazy now, but I personally held myself to this standard when I was a young entrepreneur, and I had minimum bills and no kids. So I don't see a problem with this mindset if you're like young as fuck with no kids, or even if you're grown with no kids, because it's just you, and you have the time. Like you literally have the time to pursue and do whatever can and needs to be done in regards to building a business, or pursuing something that, a dream or a goal. Like you have time to do that. You're your only responsibility. So I can see that for, like I said, young people with no kids and grown people with no kids. Like people who you are your only responsibility. Yeah, I have that mindset. Don't get a job. Like go out there and hustle. Spend every waking moment, beating on your craft and developing your skill and going out and networking and talking to people because you have all the time to do that. So, yeah, that's just my opinion though. As far as the rest of us though, or for me, if no one can relate, of course, y'all know I get on here and I be talking about me, mainly. So I had to do like some real shifting of my habits and my mindset, and I also had to start to develop routines, which I had a routine before I had a child, and that routine was easy to put together because I didn't really have to do much. So now I'm kind of on my kids routine. So and I said kid apostrophe s. I only have one child. I don't want anybody to think that, I'm speaking from a place of parent being a parent to multiple children, because I'm not that yet. So the first thing I did have to realize though, um as I was in my pursuit of entrepreneurship and getting like into building my business like for real from the ground up, not just creating the LLC and thinking I was doing something like I did when I was younger. So now it's like, okay, if I'm gonna do this for real, like it's stuff that I actually had to get in order. And the first thing I realized I needed to have was patience. Patience is like a key foundation in building your business, pursuing something and going after something that you want, because anything that like you want with substance is not gonna be easy to get, and it's not gonna take it's not gonna take a short time to get. It's gonna take a while. So and I also needed to develop patience in my own personal life real bad. But I got my kid, and he been helping me with that. So I kind of got, I think, okay, so confession, when I pick up like one skill, or I used to, when I used to pick up one skill, I would like just apply it to where I picked it up at in my life. Like I picked up patience. I started to develop patience when I had my son, because you have to be patient with kids. And then when it switched over to my business, I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this taking so long? And it's like, girl, what happened to the patience? Like, bring that over here too. Bring that with you. That doesn't leave you. Like, and that's why personal development matters more than business development. But that's another episode. Anyway, so as entrepreneurs and business builders from like the ground up, we have to develop patience first. And when I say patience, I mean with it, patience while waiting to see the fruits of our labors. And also because I feel like people kind of skate over this part, but you have to have patience for the actual work you're putting in to your business to take root as well. And to give imagery, just because I understand, I always paint pictures in my head when I'm trying to explain something to people, and I understand things like when I can put imagery to it, it just helps me understand better. So I am going to do that for you all. If it doesn't help, I'm sorry that I confused you. But let's just hope it works. Anyway, so to give imagery, it's like when you put a seed in soil. When you put the seed in the soil and cover it up, you have to water it, and then you have to back off. Like you have to give it room to grow and take root. You can't hover it, nor can you stand on the ground that the seed is underneath. So, um, when it's covered, you have to trust that the work that you're putting into the seed is like having an effect underneath the soil, because once you cover up the seed, you can't see what's happening. You can't see if the seed is taking root or if it's just sitting there, or like you can't see. You just and that's where I think faith comes into, because you just have to know that you're watering it, is getting the correct amount of sunlight. You're doing your work, you're doing your part, you're holding up your end of the bargain, and you just have to have faith and trust that the seed is doing what the seed's supposed to be doing. So and also a plant isn't produced by only one root. So when you put the seed in the soil, the seed produces multiple roots, and some take to the soil and some don't. Either way, when the first stem comes above the ground, it brings with it at least two leaves. And that's just from my own eyes, from my own experience, being around gardeners. Like my grandmother had a garden. We used to get cussed out if we stepped in it or walked through it or ran through it, honey. So, and then my grandmother who just passed, she had a like, her garden was flourishing. I don't know what she was doing, but she was on it anyways. And then my mom also was gardening gardening. How do you say that in action, like a verb? How do you can you put like, can you use garden as a verb? Like, can you put ing on the end of that? If so, that's what I'm saying. Like, she was in the action of having a garden too. She was doing that too. So, from my own experience, that I've just noticed that. So if there are some gardeners listening, shout out to you, because y'all definitely got this analogy. And y'all definitely could see how I'm painting this picture. So, anyways, though, the seed in this reference, for the rest of you, I'm gonna like walk you through it with words now. The seed in this reference is your business, and the soil is the belief that you can see your vision through, that you know you're gonna see the you're gonna see the outcome and the finished product of your business as long as you keep working. So when I say have patience for the actual work you're putting in, I mean everything you do in your business, big or small, counts. Everything counts. Everything you do in your business is another root sprouted from the seed you've planted. So um you have to give the work that you're putting in time to go into effect in the real world, and like in the spiritual realm. Like, you have to know that things are happening, and like what you see in front of you, like just because you don't see it like in your face doesn't mean that it's not happening. So I say this to say, do the work in your business in multiple areas, and take time to allow the work to develop and take root in your soil of belief. So, yeah, that's what I got when I developed patience. That was everything that I got from it. Or that's how I was able to understand it, and be patient with myself first, and be patient with the work that I was doing, and then also be patient with my work doing what it's supposed to be doing. So, yeah. And also another thing I wanted to like talk about in regards to like having a job, because I just thought about this, like being an entrepreneur, especially if you're funding your own business and you can't get like the glorified business credit, all of these Instagram like credit repair people push for clickbait. Like, having a job to fund your business is like no shame to the entrepreneurship game at all. Like, there's no reason to like hide that, or no reason to, say, oh well, I don't want to say that I have a job, because then they won't look at me like a, please don't let nobody tell you that. Don't let nobody shame you because you have a job and you're actively, now if you're not actively pursuing it, you're claiming to be an entrepreneur and you're not putting in the work to like build your business, then don't just be saying, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and I have this job, but you're not putting in work on the entrepreneurship side. So I don't know, I just feel a little way about that. But anyways, having a job as an entrepreneur is actually a freaking hack, to me at least. Like, this whole, all these episodes are opinionated. So yeah, don't, these are none of this is fact. None of this is fact. I be feeling like I have to put that disclaimer out every time I make an episode. So yeah. Anyways, so having a job while building your business is a hack, because you literally have income to fund your business. Number one, like, that's really number one, and that's it. But I'm gonna say everything else I'm thinking in my head, but as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that's really it. Like, you're funding your business. So yeah, and anybody who has actually built a business from the ground up knows that it takes paper, fam. Like, it takes money to do this. And if you didn't get a small loan of $1 million like Trump did from his daddy, then yeah, that job is a hack. That job is a hack. And we gonna capitalize off of the cards that we have in our hand. We're gonna capitalize off of them. So yeah, I also, having a job while being a business builder, oh, excuse me, and building from the ground up, having it, hold on, had to drink some water. um Having a job also reduces like stress. So building a business as like an entrepreneur with no sphere of influence, a child, bills, and no income, because being a business builder and owning a business is not a get rich quick type of thing, So I honestly got stressed out just saying all of that. Like, having a job reduces the stress of being of building a business, and like having life going on. At least you have income to dedicate some to your business, to pay your bills, to take care of your child, and to also um fund your tickets for you to gather a or create or gain a different sphere of influence that can take you to another level, because like the amount of exposure that you have to things and people is really what like gets you to the next level in your life. I wanted to make sure I said that right, so that's why I paused so many times. But the amount of, that's what Jamal King says. Make real estate real. Shout out to Jamal King. He says your amount of success is determined by your level of exposure. And when he says that, of course, he can tell you what he means by it. But for me, when I hear him say that, it's like your exposure to knowledge, your exposure to ideas, your exposure to concepts, your exposure to people, your exposure to different experiences. All of that plays a role in your level of success, exposure and experience, in my opinion. um but yeah, that was the last thing I had to say about the job. And back to the patience though. There is a word in the book of James chapter 1 verse 4 that says, "But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." Amen. And the word of a Swahili proverb says, "Hurry has no blessing." So like being in a hurry and rushing things, there are no blessings behind that. Things that move fast, and like when you're rushing to try and do something, the Swahili proverb says that there are no blessings in that. So that's that on that. The bottom line of that is develop patience, and trust the process. That's step number one when it comes to pursuing and building business. At least that's what it was for me. Let me put it in as if I'm talking to me. Developing patience and trusting the process was step number one while I was in the pursuit of building my business. And I don't know if anybody out there struggles with patience or struggles with um faith and knowing that this stuff is going to work, because also when you're like rushing something, it's kind of like a lack of faith. It's almost like you want to see it happen now, or you want it to happen now because you're not sure if it's going to work. So you just rather know now than later if it's going to work, so you don't feel like you wasted your time. Um and I'm relating that to myself too. I know that I came to that realization for myself. I don't know. It might have been just now when I was saying it. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That's all I can say about that right now. Um, anyways, though, um, the second adjustment that I had to make was my circle and the people, my sphere of influence. Let me say that my sphere of influence had to be adjusted. And these were the people that I thought I was taking with me where God was calling me. And if that everybody can't go to the stove. Everybody can't, it's not gonna work. So honestly, this happened without my effort. God just kind of ushered these people out of my life, and I was only left with one of those people that I thought that was coming with me, and like my son. And God was like, "Yeah, that's it, just this one." And I was like, okay. I didn't trip. I wasn't upset or nothing, mainly because I didn't have to do no work. I mean, in one of them I had to do work later, but initially I didn't really have to do no work. So and when this happens, like, God is working and preparing you for something, and when God is doing that, you are usually in isolation by yourself, or with very few people around. So in a way it's another hack, because now any room that you have for distractions before has become like very small. Now you just gotta actually learn. You have to find something else to do with your time now, and what better to do than work on your business and your future for you and your kid. I was about to say you and your son. I told y'all I'd be talking to myself when I be talking to y'all. Like, these are what these episodes that I'm putting on the pod are literally just like, they're literally like all of the topics that are discussed during my staff meetings when I go within. So I'm just letting y'all in on what be going on in my head. And I remember saying that a couple episodes back. But yeah, this just what be going on in my head, y'all. So anyways, I am gonna do the part two for this one. So I am going to go ahead and pull a card from the self-love deck from the Tonight's Conversation podcast. Shout out to Ace Metaphor. I have the self-love deck. And this week's question says, is it possible to love yourself more And if so, why aren't you? I can answer that question. It is possible for me to love myself more. Um, and I'm not, it says, why aren't you? And it's not that I'm not, it's that I'm learning how to. I've recently started, not even recently started therapy, but I've been in therapy for a while, and I'm actually dealing, like facing some trauma and learning how to deal with things and accept myself in the space that I am currently in, and loving myself in the space that I am currently in, and looking towards the future. So I can't answer the why aren't you, because I'm loving myself more and more every day as I go through this journey called my life. So that is the question. Is it possible to love yourself more? And if so, why aren't you? Be sure to interact with each other in the Facebook. Answer that question, either right here down below in the comments or wherever you're streaming this from, or you can um slide in the DMs, which are answered. Of course, the Facebook group is a little bit more intimate and it's private, so you can go there and share your answer. And of course, there's a community there. So yeah, and the call to action also for this episode is to create a budget if you don't already have one, and include a section for your business. Budget in your business, ladies. Budget in your business. It's important and it is a must. So in the Facebook group, share what strategies you use, if you have any of your own, and share with the community in the Facebook group what services you provide. Say what your business is, promote your business a little bit, because that's not, no, it's not a networking group. So, don't get overzealous. Just go in there and say, hey, I do this, I do that, and comment under another woman's post who's seeking advice or needs a little guidance. This is a community, and we are building a womanhood culture where we are there for each other and we show up for each other. And this is becoming a norm in our community. And we are starting here at a Single Mother Success Podcast. I am doing my part. This is a womanhood podcast, and that's the culture behind this podcast. So as always, let me know, how has this episode enhanced womanhood for you moving forward, and what was your biggest takeaway? And I'm gonna do toast to you, and I'm going to toast to myself, because God was literally like, okay, you've been manifesting, you've been praying, you've been asking me for this and that. You've been trying to, okay, so now I'm going to give you a little test, a little trial, send you through a little tribulation, give you a little airplane, a little turbulence. Let me just, okay, anyway. So I was just faced with a trial, a test, or what have you, however you want to call it. I was faced with that, and I handled it with ease. And I'm just so aware that I'm just so happy that I was aware to see that the position I was in was a test. It was like red or blue pill, left or right, and the decision that you make is going to alter your life and is going to shift you either away from your manifestations or toward your manifestations. So I feel and know in my heart, in my soul, that I made the correct decision and I shifted towards my manifestation. So yeah, everything counts, ladies. Be positive, continue to love yourself, continue to appreciate yourself, spend time with yourself, know yourself, and continue to woman wonderfully. Y'all been doing a good job, and this has been a great week. And yeah, check out episode 2 next week. Thursday drops at 8 a.m. I love y'all, and holla at your girl. We'll see you next week. thank you all for joining me this week on another affair of a Single Mother Success podcast. The links to all of our info will be in the description of this pod and any other pod streaming service that you're listening to. It will be available in the description below. Remember to join the Facebook group, the private Facebook group, if you are a listener, and if you are a subscriber, go in there. There's a community there for you, community of women, and join the Facebook group. Subscribe. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter that comes out on Sundays at 10 a.m. and it's called Real Success Through Perseverance, Letters of Legacy. So it's just, like I said, a newsletter, and it gives you a weekly affirmation and a weekly scripture and a video to carry you throughout the week until we meet on the podcast on Thursday. So stay engaged, interact with us, follow us on Instagram, and when you get in the Facebook group, introduce yourself. I just want to thank you all for listening to another episode and interacting with us and joining us this week. Going forward throughout this week, remember to take care of yourself, ladies. Love yourself, forgive yourself, and celebrate yourself on the daily, on the hourly, on the minutely, on the secondly, baby. And remember, toast to yourself, even if you by yourself. Just because you by yourself don't mean you alone, and just because you alone don't mean that you lonely. Love your company, and love to spend time with yourself, because at the end, ourself is all we have. So take care of yourself, and I will see y'all next week.